welcome to another episode, and today we're following on from the last video where I put face edge, face side to the piece of beech and then cut it down the middle, well, middle-ish, just so that I can work with this 160mm depth of bandsaw. So this afternoon it's a case of cutting down the beech to the required thickness for the face of the new router fence, and let's crack on. So I've decided that the face of the fence is going to be 35mm thick. That will give me plenty of weight to the fence. It won't bend with it being beech. It's going to give me plenty of thickness so that I can put the T-track in for the featherboards, and it's going to be deep enough as well, or thick enough, so that I can put a smaller T-track in here for gauges to stop movement forward and back. That's going to be an extra addition to this. So that's what we're going to do now. Attach ventilation, plug it in, switch it on, put my ears on, and one thing I should have done, just double check which is the face edge and face side. And it's not that one, it's that one. Again, should have done this before, let me mark it. There we go. Here we go. And I must say I'm very impressed with this brand new blade from Axminster, one of their Excalibur range. High carbon steel, but I can't believe the speed that I cut through that with such a nice finish, really, for a 3 teeth to the inch blade. Really impressed with that. So that's cut that. All I've got to do now is the big piece. So I'm guessing that will be the face edge, face side. No. On. That's definitely that's the side we want. Move back up, because if you remember from the last episode, this was 230mm thick. It definitely will not go through the bandsaw, but we cut it down to 150-ish millimetres, and we're all ready. And again, what a lovely finish. So, those are the two main pieces that are going to form the fence. So that's the face side that I'll work against with workpieces. The smaller piece will go on top, jointed, and then what I'm going to do is cut these down smaller so that I can use these for all of the back pieces. That way everything is going to be nice and square. So the next thing that I need to be doing is using the planer just to tidy up that cut edge that you just saw me make, and then I can put it back through the bandsaw with a nice tidy face edge and face side. So just get this all ready. Now I've marked what I'm having as the face edge, so that's going to go against the fence, of course. Like that, and then that'll just tidy that other edge up. plug it in. Put my ears on. So as good as finish of that bandsaw blade is, obviously it's not perfectly square, so that's going to take 1 or 2 half-millimetre passes just to take those rough bits off. That's a very nice piece of timber, if I do say so myself. So, just make sure I label it as face edge, face side. I do get those two mixed up. And do the second piece. Now that's nice. So, face side, face edge, all done. Now I can put it back on the bandsaw and cut those down. So I've marked the face edge and face side of these two pieces now. I've decided this is 40mm thick. So all I'm going to do is take it straight down the middle, and that will give me roughly 19.5mm thick pieces, 3/4 of an inch. That's a nice thickness for what's going behind the fence. I've set the fence for the bandsaw. Let me just lock everything off so that won't move. Ears on. And making sure I've got the right sides. Face edge downwards on the table, face edge against the fence. Here. Now that was a clever piece of work, wasn't it? I lost my concentration and allowed the workpiece to move away from the fence, and so I've got a lovely kink and hollow in there now. Never mind, I can work around it. Serves me right. Second piece. That's a very nice cut. Just a little bit of a kink there, but again, I can work around that. Next step. So this is going to be the front of the fence and the two pieces of wood. I'm just going to make sure that everything is nice and square, so I'm going to run that bit through the planer as well, and then I'm going to biscuit joint these together. That way I will have one solid piece, and then I'll put it through the thicknesser just to make sure that there are no odd sides and odd edges to catch anything. So that's the next thing, just clean that up on the planer and then put the biscuits in. So I've cleaned up the edge, and that's the face edge that I'm going to be working with. Now this piece is 900mm long, and we don't need to be really accurate about this. I've just made sure I've got 6 biscuits in there, and just judged it by eye to see how they look, to see they're roughly equal. And what I'm going to do is have 2 biscuits, so 12 in all, so that nothing will move. That's the rough position I'm going to put them in. All I'm going to do now is, there we go, just roughly mark where these are going. Pop those back. Just mark across the edge. Roughly, so that I know where everything is going. That's that. I've already got the cutter in the router. Now this, again, like most of my cutters, have come from Wealdon tools. Apart from cleaning, this cutter never leaves this arbour, so I know they're always going to be working. Comes with a bearing roller, and what I really want is just to check roughly where things are going to go. Like that. Like that. That looks about equal. So just take the cutter down till it's roughly in the right place. Lock that off. Move the biscuits out of the way. Ears. That's what I want. And it's going to be there, just so that I don't get mixed up which bit I'm cutting. There we go. And Off we go. Okay. Yep, got plenty of speed on that. And that's got those nicely. Little bits of oil that will clean up. Okay. A little bit dusty, but for this it's quite difficult to have the dust extraction on. So the first row of cuts, that's the second piece, and that is going to go like that with face sides on the same side. So if that's going to go like that, I need to be marking things like this. Okay, so that's got the positions lengthwise. Just to make sure I'm going to be cutting in the right place. Again, just mark that. Now, that's going to go like that. So therefore I need to be cutting from this top side. So all I'm going to do is that. The cutter is in the same place, and so if I just cut slots there, they will correspond with those there, and then I can position it for the second cut. That's that. So that will be like that. Those cuts line up. That's fine. Now just reposition the cutter for the second pass. There we go, and off we go. That's going to be like that. So turn it over, and second pass. There we go. So that will be like that. Now I've just got to glue everything up. Okay. So If you remember from one of the previous episodes, when it comes to putting biscuits in, the tip is never to put glue in the slots. That way timber can move because of expansion and contraction, and because those are going to be loose, they will stop everything moving side to side but not widthwise, and so things won't become distorted. So all I'm going to do is glue down the gaps. You can have too much glue. If you have too much glue, you end up just wasting it because it all squeezes out. But I do like to have plenty in for something to grip. Last little piece. These edges, a little dab, so we're not missing anything. Now I'm not quite sure how long I've had this piece of timber in. It's been indoors for quite a few years, so it is quite dry, which is why this glue is soaking in quite a lot. Okay. Just pop the biscuits in. And one thing you're probably noticing, these are quite tight. Again, these biscuits have been in stock for quite a few years, and although they're in an airtight tin or box, they are kept outdoors in the shed, so that's going to encourage them to absorb moisture. So let's just tap them home. Make sure I'm working from the right side. Yep. normally go in easier than this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get clamps and pull them together like that. Usual pieces of scrap wood just to act so I don't damage the edge. Those are just starting to go together. Now these are coming together slowly, but it is very, very slow. And these are very tight. I've never known them like this before. And that one snapped. Oh well, let's carry on. That's how much strain these are under. As I say, I've never known anything like this before. These are incredibly tight. I've still got quite a way to go with this one, so I'll pause the video and I'll come back when I've completed clamping up. We got there eventually. That took quite a lot of work. I haven't a clue what happened, but there was no way that that was going to go in very easily. Anyway, you can now see I have a nice glue bead, so just finish tightening those up, making sure. The nice thing about these cramps is that those legs provide a very nice flat level, but all I've got to do is make sure that the back of the piece is aligned with the fence, and that means that will be nice and square. That's not going to bow one little bit. All I've got to do now is clean up the glue. Back and front. Just leave that to go off, and then I can put that through the thicknesser just to finish everything off, leave everything nice and flat, perfectly level, with no hard sanding whatsoever. So that's that piece. Put that to one side. And this is, just thought I'd show you the result of the cramp that failed. It is only cast aluminium when all said and done, but that's the first time I've ever had something like this fail on me. I can't understand why. The holes were aligned very, very well, so just put that down to experience and get another cramp. Oh well. One thing, these come from Axminster tools, and I found them very, very easy to use, so relatively cheap, and see what happens. So, had a look. Next thing to do, while the fence is actually gluing up, decide what pieces I'm going to be using where. So these are the pieces that I cut down earlier this afternoon, and one of these will form the base. The smaller pieces can be used for these braces, and I'll be wanting something for the airbox as well. So all I've got to do is put those through the thicknesser to make sure they're all the same thickness, and just to tidy up the cut, because although that's quite a nice cut, it is relatively rough by comparison with the face side. Once I've thicknessed it, decide what's going where, measure, cut, and then I'll be ready for putting it all together. But that's as far as I'm going for this afternoon. Thanks ever so much for watching. Join me on the next one where I continue this workshop journey.